Tony always laughing. Welcome to the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast, episode 213, part 2. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else the gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Chad Wallace, from the German Pasta Fetish Podcast and the Firearms Radio Network, which is your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and all things firearms related. In this show, we will discuss self-defense insurance, thanks to Rob, how Zane hates the newly released IWI Tavor TS12 Bullpup shotgun, and Rob is depressed about the FNH Scar SC. And oh, look, Tony has a diversity shoot coming up, which you will find out if you listen live, because on the recording, it will have already happened. So tonight on the podcast, we have Zane, Tony, and Rob. And because you guys are boring, we'll start with Tony. What'd you do in firearms?
Firearms this week. Had a great time with firearms this week. My nips made it the trigger on the Rob rifle, which is the Adams Arms upper, piston upper. And what's the name of the company again? Trojan Firearms trigger. I adjusted that a little bit because that's going to the diversity shoot. And it's going to be used by brand new shooters and people who've never shot a piston AR before. So
you tightened it up a little bit?
Yeah, it's got a really clean break. So I'm just ready to take that out and introduce people to that type rifle. And hopefully they have fun with it. That's what I did.
I think they will. I think they'll have fun with it, though.
It's different. It feels different, and it's really accurate. I don't know if you guys have checked out the pic that I posted of pretty much that one whole group.
At 100 yards?
No, it was at 25. I was just zeroing. I'm not shooting at 100 yards. I'm shooting at an indoor range. So I just wanted to hit point of aim or near point of aim for a new shooter.
Oh, I just said that for Rob's precision rifle at 50 yards.
Oh yeah, I definitely know why you said it, and that's why I love you, man.
Zane, what'd you do?
Who the heck needs enemies?
Yeah, exactly. Or is Zane even available?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I was muted.
Yeah.
So last week we had a great show last week. If you missed it, you missed an outstanding show. But I taught a concealed weapons class for about, I think I had 9 students in that. That was cool. And I finished my lower build. I finished it. Well, I finished it, and then I had to take something off, put it back on, so it's not completely done because I got to restake my castle nut. But other than that, the lower is done on the build I'm working on. Now moving on to the upper. But aside from that, I don't believe I did anything other than troll a couple gun groups.
That's your normal everyday stuff, though.
Because why not?
Well, that leaves you, Rob.
I think what Zane was meaning to say was we had a great show, except Rob, who messed up the recording while he was filling in for Chad, who was playing hooky at SHOT Show. So
hey, I was going to be nice and not say anything on the air about it. But
hey, look,
it was a great show. It was an outstanding show. It really was.
Oh, it was.
Well, the parts I heard, which was everybody but Rob, sounded pretty good.
Oh, yeah, it was great. It was fantastic.
Let me tell you, the defining moment of last week's show was when Elvis and Tupac both called in, telling everybody how they weren't dead, and then dropped a couple of rhymes from their new album. It was really great. And I wish you guys could have heard it. Elvis and Tupac did a really cool mashup.
Tony, you forgot about Biggie Smalls, man. He called in too.
Oh, now nobody's.
You need to quit drinking so early, Tony.
Hang on.
Hey, leave me alone. NyQuil dreams are real.
Oh, okay.
That's what I did. Oh, yeah, I finally got the torque screwdriver in for my Ruger Precision restoration. So I got the scope back from Vortex, got the scope on there, took it out to the range, got it sighted in. Oh, that's a nice gun.
Yes,
Had a great time. It's a very, very sweet gun. It's a very fun gun. Really good gun.
Wait a minute. What caliber was yours again, Rob? Is it 6.5 or 308?
308.
Okay.
Yeah, my next one, I really want to get to the 6.5 Creedmoor, but that's not in the financial cards right now.
Understand.
I kind of don't have the cash, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, as you guys know, or if you listen to these other yahoos, I was fortunate enough to go to SHOT Show. The only problem with SHOT Show was I had to hang out with the AR-15 podcast guys. And, they were harassing me, and hell, they're still harassing me to this day. But actually, we had a lot of fun. They're good guys over there. I mean, I shot so much stuff, saw so much stuff. And as Tony was saying about Adam's Arms, they were at range day. I shot their 6.5 Creedmoor rifle. They also are offering it in 243 Winchester, which I also shot. So, not many people seem to make that platform in a 243. I actually liked shooting the 6.5 Creedmoor better than the 243.
And that's the reason why.
Yeah. Well, I kind of expected the 243 to be more like the 6.5 Creedmoor in a piston-driven, AR-10 platform rifle, but it wasn't.
What is it? 243 Winchester or something? What is that?
Yeah.
It's a pretty popular hunting cartridge down here in Florida. It's a pretty underrated cartridge, in my opinion.
It's basically 308 neck down to 6mm.
Yeah,
it's basically what it is.
Okay, so
it's a 308. It's a parent case, and it'll work in the same size actions. It's just a 24 caliber bullet or 6mm bullet.
Yeah, I was checking it out because I've read about it before. I mean, it's just funny to me that are the parameters that different? Because I have not looked it up. I have not checked the ballistics. This is just a question that I'm coming up with right now because we're having a conversation. How different are the ballistics? Is 6.5 Creedmoor or even 6mm Creedmoor? Because that's now the new hotness.
See, I don't
ballistics that
I don't know about the 6mm Creedmoor, but with the 243, I mean, your heavy bullets are like 105 grain.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
you're pushing them hard to get them to 1,000 yards before they go transonic, subsonic.
Yeah.
I mean, like my load that I use in my 243, it's good to about 850 yards with 105 grain before it goes subsonic. So, the 6.5 Creedmoor is way better in that respect.
I think for practical purposes, aside from long range shooting, if you're precision shooting or especially at a longer range, I think the 6 Creedmoor and the 6.5 Creedmoor are better. But if you're hunting or you're staying within 500 yards, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a 243 or a 270 or a 308. They're still great cartridges.
Well,
exactly.
that's what I find funny. It's like because something catches on, a lot of people act as if the old thing just sucks. And I'm like,
it's the cartridge of the day. I mean, think about it. Remember with 300 blackouts, what everybody wanted? Oh, we got to have a 300 blackout. And now then it went to 243, now 6.5 Creedmoor. Then
am I incorrect that the Ruger Precision originally was released in a 243 configuration in addition to the 308 and the 6.5? Okay, that's what I thought.
They dropped
the first 2
probably due to popularity. People aren't buying it; they're not going to make it.
And again, it's a nice round. A lot of people deer hunt with them down here in Florida because we have small deer. So
okay,
yeah, we have
deer. We have
small deer here.
Down here. I mean,
yeah, that's what we have up here too. So a lot of people hunt with it here too. So.
Well, I know more people that hit deer with cars in Jersey than hunt them, so I really can't tell you what people use. I know we have to use shotguns.
I've hit more with cars than with bullets, personally.
They use a high beam and a horn.
Yeah, in Jersey, they use SUVs, 4x4s, cars. Yeah,
Priuses,
and
whatever.
I think, shotguns too.
I don't know, man. A Prius is one that the deer might actually do some real damage to that thing.
Actually, I think now I heard this number. I could be wrong. It just pops in my head. I think we have 50,000 deer car incidents a year in Jersey.
My God, think of all that meat that's going to waste. That's horrible.
Hey, here in Oregon now, if you hit one, you can keep it.
Oh, good.
Same in Florida. Same in Florida.
They just finally passed that law here. I was like, I mean, you still got to call the authorities and stuff, but it's like, geez, it's about time. I mean, come on, it's perfectly good meat just going to waste.
I actually hit a deer. I actually hit a deer last night, and it didn't kill it, and it was injured pretty bad, and I felt terrible about it. But Florida law says if it's dead, I can keep it, but if it's not dead, I can't shoot it. And it obviously ran off and died.
Oh, but, yeah. Well, at least you fed the coyotes and pigs.
Exactly.
Buzzards ain't good.
Chad.
Yeah.
So your first trip to SHOT Show, is it kind of like drinking from a fire hose?
Yes, it kind of is, but it is because you're just kind of odd. Like the first day, you're kind of awed by, oh man, this place is huge. How do I get from here to here? But then you figure it out, and like I had a list of places in numerical order of where they were. So you do something like that and you can get to all the places you want to go fairly quickly. But it was nice to see people that had sent us stuff, see some of the new products. I mean,
did you get a chance
a lot of
to
fun.
Check out the super game-changing reformation?
I shot the deformation, whatever. I am going to withstand from saying anything about it until maybe next week when it's in the show notes.
Okay, that's fair.
That's really good.
That's fair. I like it.
Just because, it's super popular. All the memes were out.
Yeah, I mean, I did a good job, right?
Oh yeah.
You
I mean, they were flying.
No, you saw the one
I saw. Yeah, and they're pretty funny. And then, so there's that. I did shoot the TS12 that we'll talk about later.
Awesome.
Let's see. I shot. I shot one of the Bagara rifles. They're 6.5 Creedmoor. I think their targets were only out at like 750 yards. So that was as far as I stretched that out. And they're
good distance.
Yeah, they're pretty nice rifles. The Sword International guys, I didn't shoot their rifle, but they were on the range that they had steel targets out at 950. I think Reed from the AR-15 podcast was shooting. He shot that target. So, and here's the one that I really don't want to say that I shot. I shot the Ruger Security 9 pistol.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we ragged on it, the trigger is not near as bad as we thought, or at least I thought.
Okay. Yeah, good for Ruger. My thing is,
that's what I'm saying. I still was not impressed with the gun as a whole, but I wanted to say that yes, I was wrong. Okay, we're done with that now. The trigger is bad.
Maybe I get my hands on one of those Ruger Security 9s. I think I need to get my hands on a Security 9.
I just didn't really like the gun itself, but like I said, since I shot it, the trigger is better.
You know why, right?
Because 5 million people had shot that gun.
Well, it might be 5 million people shot that gun, but also I found out it's like pre-cocked. The double action is actually pre-cocked when you rack the slide. It is, so it's not a long, or at least not as bad as I thought it was. What's up?
So it's more like a Glock where it's the
pre-cocked double. Wouldn't that be a single action?
No, full all the way back.
It's not.
So it's like a partially clock. It's like Glock safe action, I guess.
Exactly. It's like a safe double action.
Yeah,
it's like a friggin' striker fire.
Weird, but
yeah,
yeah. But
it's hammer fired.
But my thing is, if it has a better trigger, because remember the P series, people complained about them all the time, the Ruger P series pistols, because they had a horrible trigger. I've dry fired some of them. That's all I've ever done. It had a horrible trigger. So now with this pre-cock or partial cock or whatever you want to call it, it gives it a better trigger pull. And then with a street price of under $300, which people talking about going for, and it's a Ruger and it has their warranty. I'm sorry, but I mean, I didn't poo-poo on it badly before, except to say it was kind of silly. If it had a horrible trigger, or to be just double action, hammer fired. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a good trigger on
Here
it,
we go.
Yep. And unlike,
it's still a hard
Yeah,
pass for
Zane
me.
still hates it.
yeah,
Well, no,
well,
It's still a
it's
hard
fine.
pass for me, but I don't have a niche for it. So
Yeah, and also,
Yeah,
listen, some people, Ruger is that, and it sucks because they make good guns, but some of them are heavy, some of them are they're not doing the flavor of the day with handguns. Like they
Right.
just don't do the flavor of the day with handguns. They don't. They know what the audience is. I mean, heck, in the middle of craziness, Ruger was 400% over other companies. So Ruger knows what they're doing and they know their audience. So I'm not mad at them at all. And I mean, I have 1, 2, 3 Ruger products.
no, everybody has some.
Yeah. So
You think,
Yep.
let's
We
see.
got 1022.
Yeah, exactly.
everybody,
That one.
Zane has one.
It seemed like, okay, there were a few cool things. Geisley at Range Day has a 700 trigger. So they're moving into the Remington 700 trigger.
Nice.
It's
Ooh.
like a 3-pound fixed.
Oh, hello.
This thing is spectacular. That's all I'm going to say. You can get, you can get a 2-stage or single stage, but
Hello. I'm feeling a trigger upgrade for my Remington 700.
yeah, this thing was awesome. I mean, I'm not the only one that shot it. So, the AR-15 podcast guys shot it and they all liked it also.
Well, it's Geisley. Geisley makes good stuff.
Well, exactly. The other thing, the big hotness besides the 6.5 Creedmoor there, be quite a few 224 Valkyries. And I don't know if you guys remember us talking about it.
Yeah. I've been keeping an eye on that. That seems like another new hotness. And
Right.
See, my thing is, yes, it's a new thing. A lot of it is advertising, but I'm cool with it because if it gets more people in, if it gets more people shooting, I don't care.
And right, and people are starting to offer it more in bolt guns. Barrett was there, and they had their AR platform rifle, but they also had their I don't remember what it's called, but their hunting series lightweight rifles, bolt guns, and they had one in 224 Valkyrie, and I shot it and the 6.5 Creedmoor back to back, and the 224 Valkyrie and the bolt gun was awesome. I mean, we're talking a lightweight bolt gun, and there's like no recoil. Just, I was impressed with it in the bolt gun. So I'm assuming out of an AR, it's going to be just as nice.
I've always wanted to pull the trigger on a Barrett 50, but I think I might look at a Barrett bolt gun now, or that MR80 thing they have.
Oh yeah, the MRAD. And let's see. I don't know what you guys. If you have any questions about shot, I can mention it. But most of the stuff that I saw and remember is going to be in the show notes in the future shows, so we can all discuss it.
Sounds like we got material for a few months.
That's exactly. Which is great about SHOT Show, because finding content for the next 6 months is not going to be hard. But so I'll stop there and go into the announcements. Bandwidth sponsor is Patriot Patch Co. Go check out their new patches and their Patch of the Month Club. For February, it's an Opposites Attract with a Glock and a 1911 with a heart and a sticker that says bullets are forever with a bullet going through a heart. It doesn't look like they have any pre-orders. Or no, just keep checking back or join their email list. You'll find out. We have a listener support program. It is at firearmsradio.tv/pledge gun gear review podcast. I don't know if it really does anything, but if you want to help us out, you can go there or send us an email and we can probably figure something out. If you're shopping Amazon, use our affiliate link at firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. And if you're shopping Black Bag Resources and want to give stuff to Tony for his diversity shoot, you can use the code Simon Says Train, and all the stuff in your cart will go to Tony.
Which I will actually either give away or raffle off or do a bunch of other things with.
No, all the stuff that goes to Tony actually goes to help the gun cause. You don't get 90% of it going to pay for like salaries for 3 or 4 people and two rounds or something.
Well, I think even if 90% went to pay people, the 90% is like we get paid 0, and even Tony gets paid 0. So,
oh, dude, I think.
Hey, Chad, you better get a better contract with Jake.
Yeah.
Well, Jake's no longer around, so he's just the bandwidth sponsor. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Way to keep up with things, brother.
Okay, Rob.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna handle it?
Legal time.
I'm gonna fire you.
Oh, well, why don't you
cut your pay? Yeah, I'll do that.
My pay. I'll file a grievance with my union.
Okay, after you read the disclaimer.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and do not reflect the official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employers. Viewer discretion is advised. This is especially true on live shows.
Woohoo, great.
Yeah, I got through it without messing up too bad.
It doesn't matter if you mess it up, I don't think. Well, our main topic, it says product review, but it's more, Rob was kind enough to do a bunch of research on self-defense insurance. And, we're going to preface this like that none of us are lawyers, including Rob. And so this is just information. It is not, there may be something wrong with it. It's just what he found on their websites and such. And so I will give it to Rob and he can start explaining what he found.
Yeah, I've been looking at this stuff for a few months, and I just decided to, after we had a couple comments from the feedback, I said, okay, I'll throw it into a document. And like Chad said, we ain't lawyers. I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night and do your own research, make your own choices. And no, I'm not going to recommend anything for you to get because some people might want it, some people might not want it. So basically, here we go. The scenario is you just had to use a firearm to defend your life. You just had to fight for your life, or the fight of your life. Now you're ready for the fight for your life, or whatever. I'll screw that one up. Okay, now here's the deal: I know. Thanks, Chad. I love you too. Defending yourself from using deadly force can cost a lot of money. Some instances have cost over $100,000, and in one case, Zimmerman cost around $2 million. I don't know about y'all. I ain't got that kind of fundage available, and they can mount these fees can mount up quickly, especially when you consider attorney's fees, court costs, expert witnesses, travel costs, hotels, all that kind of stuff. Because a lot of these people that come down to partake in your case won't do it for free. They're going to want to be reimbursed for their expenses. And this is the rub right here is not all self-defense insurance plans are created equal, nor do they pay out equal with the coverage. So you've got to evaluate the different types of insurance out there to make sure that the one you pick, if you pick one, will work for you. And remember, everything on this is subject to change because there's a table at the bottom of my little report that I put together, and it's current as of the beginning of January. It could change next week, next month. But first thing, the way I'm looking at it is after you've had the shooting, you call the cops. Cops are going to come out there. They're going to talk to you, et cetera, et cetera. More than likely, you're going to get taken to jail for the evening, maybe a day or two. Some states, you don't get out of jail if it's a capital offense. If it's a murder capital offense, you stay in jail until you're acquitted or you take a plea bargain. So what you need to know is, like in Florida, I'll probably hopefully bond out. I don't have the money to bond out. You're talking $500,000 bond. You have to put 10% down. What's that? $50,000. Depending on your state, depending on where you're at, $25,000. Got to make sure that hopefully it'll pay some money up front for the bond. Because that's another thing. You'll notice some of these will pay up front, some will pay in the back end when if you're acquitted. Now, if you wait to the ones to pay in the back end, guess what? You're going to pay for your lawyer, your bond, everything up front, and then hopefully get reimbursed on the flip side. So something to think about. Then when you get bonded out, you're going to need a lawyer. And, lawyers will want an upfront retainer. They're not just going to take money for free or take your case for free because you're such a nice guy. So again, this is where you look at it. You want to get one that's going to pay up front, or you want a reimbursement one? I don't know what I want, but
you still there, Rob?
I'm sorry. I have my voice kind of cut out for a second.
Oh, that's okay. Well, we'll let it go. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you. If you select an insurer who will cover the cost up front, make sure you know the limits are for the lawyer. Because again, some policies, depending on whether you get the gold, silver, bronze tier, whatever they want to call it, will pay different amounts for your lawyers, different amounts for your bail bond, etc. And here's another thing too: is some plans will assign you a lawyer. Others will allow you to pick a lawyer. If they assign you a lawyer, my question is, what quality of lawyer are they going to assign you? Are they going to give you somebody who knows self-defense insurance? Or are they going to give you somebody who just got out of law school 5 months ago, or somebody who was a court lawyer that's now switching over to defend people for murder charges? You want to make sure you had a good lawyer.
There's a flip side to that too.
Yes.
So I have a self-defense insurance. I'm not going to say which one because I don't want to endorse any of them. But I have one, and the one I have has attorneys. They provide the attorney, and they specifically do that. Now, this is part of their marketing, I'm sure, too. But they specifically do that because the attorneys in their program are familiar with. They handpick attorneys that are familiar with self-defense law, and so there's some. I know some of them actually pick their attorneys based on dudes that are studying this, and most of the attorneys in the program are actually like gun guys and gals. So there's the flip side of that. You might not know who you're going to if you have to pick attorney. So I think unless you pick one ahead of time, probably the last thing on your mind is going to be like, oh, let me research all these lawyers and see who's good. So if you are going to choose a plan that lets you pick your attorney, you might want to do some research on them ahead of time.
And at the same time, even like the one Zane has, I'd want to research and make sure that the lawyers they have are quality lawyers. Zane appears to have done the research, so he's confident that the lawyers they'll assign him will be good. And the other thing too, you got to watch out for, Zane, is I know we live in South Florida. If your lawyers are in North Florida, that could be some really big travel expenses. But that's just something to think about, depending on where they're at. And like Zane said about finding a lawyer ahead of time, the problem with that, and I put a note in here about putting a lawyer on retainer. I don't want to say it's not going to happen, but basically what you do is you try to find a lawyer who would take a retainer from you on something that, God, I hope it never happened. So,
well, no, I'm not saying get a retainer on an attorney, but I'm saying you might want to research your attorneys ahead of time, because the worst time to probably research attorneys is probably from a jail cell.
Sure.
You're probably going to want to have done that research, or in some of these programs, they have done the research for you, which is why I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to have one that has program attorneys.
Here's the thing.
Again, it just depends on who the attorneys are.
Here's the thing about an attorney when you need one. Yeah, Zane is correct. You want to do that groundwork before. If it's nothing more than talk to people who are attorneys and get their recommendation of who you should call in case of something. I got lucky with what happened to me, and I ended up hiring the president of the bar association of the state I was in. So I think I did pretty well, but on a recommendation. But yeah, you want to be ahead of the curve on that. At least have a business card or a name that you can go to in your phone or in your wallet.
Absolutely. Again, that's why we're saying do your research. Make sure you know what you're getting into. And also look at the reputation, too, of these companies. I think my point is you're probably not going to get a lawyer to take a retainer for something will probably never happen because that's the money they have to account for. That's money you have to account for. What if the firm closes? What if the lawyer dies? You're probably not going to get a retainer for something that might or might not happen.
Yeah, unless you need an attorney for other things.
Right.
And even then, I probably wouldn't use my same attorney that's handling my,
Estate.
business or my estate to handle my self-defense charge.
Yeah,
so, unless you're like, the only people I know that have criminal defense attorneys on retainer, most of them aren't the most upstanding. Aren't the most upstanding individuals.
Well, and it's like
all
too,
of them are.
they say you can use a public defender. You're right, but then I was talking to an attorney about that, and he basically looked at me and said, "Just remember, the public defender is used to dealing with guilty people. So think about that. And the public defender is going to do their best to get you a plea bargain, even if you're innocent. So." Next thing you got to look at, too, is with these plans, non-witness expenses or non-lawyer expenses, i.e. expert witnesses, investigators, co-counsel. You think you'll need them. You might need them. Those guys are going to cost, or girls are going to cost money. Make sure you've got some coverage in there. Or, if you think you can cover it, go ahead and cover it. See, non-firearm self-defense. There's another one. What if you don't use a gun? What if it's a case where you use a mace, pepper spray, a baseball bat, baton, pocket knife, just something that's not firearms related? Like, say, I spaz out or I lose my mind and go up to visit Tony in Jersey, where about the only thing I can carry is a baseball bat, and that's about it.
If you have a baseball bat in Jersey, you better have a glove and a ball in the trunk, too.
Okay. Yeah, see?
Yep, I'm not even joking.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Something else to think about is if you carry a gun professionally, a lot of these companies won't cover you in the course of your duties. So if you're law enforcement, if you're security, if you're a private investigator, if you're a bodyguard, a lot of these companies will not cover you in the performance of your duties. Some of them will. Now, that's not a big deal for some people. If you work for a large police department, your agency is probably going to cover you if you get into, but they might not. They might decide you're the sacrificial lamb because the political climate and the facts of the case line up to where, so that's something to look into if you carry a gun professionally, because not all of them will cover you on duty.
Yep. The next question, what if you're carrying in a gun-free zone? Now, like in Florida's got some really weird laws about firearms. The gun buster signs are no guns allowed. That doesn't carry the force of law. All it is just misdemeanor, get the heck out. But if you walk into a restaurant like a Red Lobster or a Bennigan's or something, I go.
Well, let me before you say what you're about to say, that law is extremely ambiguously worded.
Yeah,
it has a lot of words in there that no one really knows what that law even means. You're talking about the bar statute, right? About the alcohol.
Yeah, the one that says you can go into a restaurant and drink, but you can't go to a bar. Which
what it says, I know exactly what it says because we talk about this in our concealed carry class I teach. It says any portion of any establishment licensed to dispense alcoholic beverage for consumption on the premises, as which portion of the establishment is primarily dedicated to such purpose. That's exactly what it says, and nobody knows what that means.
Yeah, and that's one of those. Is this going to be a case where if I accidentally walk into the bar at Bennigan's to get a drink and walk out back to the waiting area, are they going to say, "Oh, sorry, you were breaking the law. We're not going to cover you"? That's something you got to watch out for.
And the big deal with that is, since no one really knows what it means, the cop showing up, depending on which cop shows up, is going to depend on whether you get arrested or not.
Oh, yeah.
So, something to think about. Gun-free zones.
Yeah, beautiful, aren't they? Yeah, next question. How was your case handled? If you file a claim, do you get to talk to somebody locally who's got familiarity with self-defense cases who'll be able to help you, or are they going to kick you over to a third-party claiming organization that has absolutely zero clue about guns and has zero clue about self-defense? Basically the giant monster insurance company. Now, the other thing too, next thing, insurance, the solvency. How much cash do they have on hand? I hate to pay money into a defense fund or pay for self-defense insurance, and they go, "Oh yeah, we know you filed the claim, but yeah, we're broke. Sorry."
And to piggyback on that, the way a lot of these work are, because you cannot profit from a crime, you cannot benefit from the commission of a crime. So purely insurance cannot pay you until you've been cleared of any charges. So what a lot of these things have done is create some sort of a foundation, and the foundation is who fronts you the money, and then the insurance company pays them back once you're cleared of the charges. So, and that's what Rob's talking about when he's talking about how much money do they have on hand, because the ones that pay up front, that's not insurance paying up front. Insurance is going to reimburse them later.
Yeah, and the other thing to think about too is the ones. I had a really good point about this. About that gummit. I'm sure I'll think about it later. I'm sorry.
Probably what you're going to say is the ones that have the foundation. They're much more likely to really want to get you acquitted because they want their money back.
Yeah. Yeah, they do want to get you acquitted, but they'll have the money up front to help you get a good lawyer, and what they'll probably want to do is have access, if not directly to the case files, but have access to your attorney so they can actually make a determination: was this really a good shoot, or was this a bad? Was this legal or not? Because if it's a case of you did something wrong, they might not cover you, or they might say, "Hey, look, we don't think this was a very good case for self-defense. Goodbye, have a nice day." Then the next thing is I got a note for civil litigation. More than likely you'll be sued civilly. How will this be covered? Will there be limits? Will they cover it? Now, states like Florida, we've got pretty decent civil litigation laws for self-defense cases, which is why a lot of lawyers hate Florida for self-defense cases. But if you're not in a good state like Florida and you have to defend yourself, you're probably going to be civilly sued. So, summary: do you need it? Well, it's really going to depend on your likelihood to need to use deadly force to defend your life, whatever you think that would be. The risk aversion preference, are you willing to assume the risk to pay for your defense? And do you really have the money to pay for your defense? Because that's going to cost a lot of money. Even like, what was it, Paul Lathrop on the Flight Society podcast, he just said, "Dude, I have a gun and it costs me like $30,000 to get out of that one." So, that's just not even using a gun. But here's just at the end, there's a little note from me. Personal opinion is, no matter what you decide to do, you need to consider getting some training on self-defense laws. I.e., I went through the law of self-defense course by Andrew Bronca. There's a whole litany of other lawyers that do self-defense legal cases and self-defense legal training, because knowing the law is very important to making a case. Because when you use your gun to defend your life, you're going to go to jail, and you'll probably have to go to court, and your lawyer is going to be given the pile of manure that you hand him. Whatever, if you give him a good case, he can make good progress with it. If you give him a bad case, it might be a while. So, and if you look on the document that I put together, as soon as Chad can get it posted, here's a table. I picked about 4 or 5 of the most prevalent cases that I could, or insurers that I could find. And again, the data from there is current as of January of this year. It's subject to change. Always check it, verify it, etc. One thing you'll notice, NRA Carry Guard doesn't have a whole lot on there. And it's not a being mean, picking on them or whatnot. But they really don't have a whole lot on their website. And the data I put on this table is what I could find on their website. I didn't make any telephone calls. I didn't send any emails. I just said, okay, here, this is what I found on the internet. So if they didn't have it out there, I didn't include it. Now, one thing, too, is I threw a link on here. I got this after I put everything together. The Virginia Citizens Defense League has a really, really good table, a good website page that has a summary of the legal plans, where it looks like they did a survey for all the 7 or 8, 9 major legal companies or legal insurers, And they put that data on their website and that's current, I think, as of November of last year, 2017. So, and I mean, what I've learned is that what coverage and costs are all over the map, and there's really no standards for
there's
each of this.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it now, and there's plans as low as $9.95 a month, and there's plans all the way up to $47 a month, and you're looking at coverage ranging between unlimited and coverage all the way down to like $10,000 for criminal defense. So you pretty much you have to decide what are your priorities, and then go from there, and what you can spend.
Yeah, it really comes down to what you can expend, but trials are expensive, guy. I mean, it's just really an expensive prospect.
I probably wouldn't go with a plan that had $10,000 criminal defense coverage. If you go to you'll see if you go look at the spreadsheet, you'll see which plan I'm talking about. And I'm not knocking that company at all. They seem like a great company, but that's not a plan that would fit my needs.
I'll go ahead and tell you guys, because I listen to Paul Lathrop in the Polite Society podcast too. His lawyer wanted a $15,000 retainer before he'd do anything.
Before even look at the file.
Yeah.
So that gives you some indication of the real numbers involved. And I think this was in like Nebraska. So if you live on one of the coast, expect to pay more.
Well, not only that, but most lawyers are, say $250 an hour. If they walk into court, you double that fee. They've got the regular fee and the court fee. So.
Well, and the other thing to think about too is some of these plans have really big name people as their like board members, like ACLDN, for example. They have, like Dennis Tuller, and it is on staff. Matt Ayub is on staff with them, and for when it comes time for expert witnesses, that could be a big deal. Some of these send out like training information. I know U.S. Law Shield and ACLDN both have certain like training stuff. Some of them have newsletters. It's a lot more than we could really cover in an hour.
Here's the thing. Information helps you out all the way around the board. And the more information you can get prior to a situation, including the information you can get from whoever you go to, will help you immensely. If you've never heard of some of these trainers, and it's funny because some people that train regularly think everyone knows who's or Dennis Tuller. A lot of people don't. Once you find out who these people are and you start getting training from them, as in even looking up who they are and reading some of their articles, your education will go up. All of a sudden, your knowledge level, you'll realize how much you didn't know just by finding out who's on the board of some of these things or who the expert witnesses are. So, I mean, it's all around good just to even look at this. Click on what Rob has and see who's behind some of this stuff. And you can choose on your own, but you'll be exposed to a bunch of people who you may have never heard of that have been training people. Moss has been training people since the early 70s. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not something to just sneeze at. This is a lot of knowledge out there that can be had for free just looking into this. I mean, we're not telling you.
Some of these programs, too, at least two of them that I know of, have non-emergency numbers, too, that you can call and ask attorneys questions. Like, just give them your member number, and it's part of the service. Like, hey, I was thinking about, and you can get, I don't know if they consider it legal advice or not, but you can call them. They have non-emergency numbers. So, if that's something that interests me because of, being an instructor, sometimes my students ask me questions and I'm like, I have no idea. But you know what? I know someone who does.
And here's the thing. Yeah. Calling that 1-800 number to get you in contact with a lawyer is probably, is almost 100% guaranteed to be more knowledgeable than asking that question in a Facebook group.
Oh, come on. Facebook people are certified, whatever.
Yeah, they're certifiable.
Point out is like the number, the second call defense, which is one of the companies I've got listed. for a long time they were a supporter of the Bill Frady Lock and Load podcast. Something weird happened in December, and he just kind of pulled them off his website. So I'd look into that, or just,
All right. But understand.
I don't know what happened.
Here's the thing. I didn't look into it, but I know that they changed their pricing structure to actually lower it around the same time frame. So it might not have even been anything negative. It might have been like a cost. Who knows what they did? I'm just saying. I know they also changed their prices at the same time.
Yeah, Second Call Defense did just lower their prices.
Yeah, so I mean, one may have or may not have something to do with the other.
And like you'll notice for like Armed Citizens, the first year is $135, and after that it goes to $95. The first year you get like a stack of DVDs to watch.
Right. And I believe ACLDN, if I'm not mistaken, they don't even have an insurance backing them. They are strictly a foundation.
Yes.
Which is not, I'm not saying that's a bad thing either. I'm just saying the way they're structured is they're not even concerned with insurance. So.
Because right now I think they've got on their website like 1.7 million in their foundation, and I think they'll open it up like $500,000 to defend you. So, it is what it is.
Go look at Rob's spreadsheet. There's good information.
And also check out the link to VACDL, where they've got more details on other plans. Take a look at it, see what you want to do, make your determination, and you might even determine I don't need it. You don't need it.
I will try to get this up by when the podcast releases, or his spreadsheet and stuff. If not, I will do it this weekend, so that you guys can actually go take a look at it and see what he has, just if you're looking for information. So are you done, Rob? Or is there more?
Yeah, I think I got everything covered. I mean, if there's any questions or people want to talk about this further, give me a call, look me or shoot me an email or contact the podcast. Another reason I suggest looking at going for legal training is there's certain things you need to do. Like if you want to introduce the tool drill into evidence, did you know that you actually have to have demonstrated knowledge of the tool drill? You just can't introduce it into evidence. I didn't know that. That's one of the things I learned taking that legal class. So, and something else I've learned too is if I take a training class, I'm going to kind of hint around that, hey, if something happens, would you be willing to testify for me in court?
Oh, I don't hint around at it. I ask the instructor, will you be an expert witness for me if I use your tactics? And you talk about the Tooler drill, probably the most misunderstood drill in the entire training community. You need to be able to demonstrate that you have done that, sure. Because extremely misunderstood drill.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyways, I'm done. I'm sorry. We're done.
Hey, okay. Great job, Rob. Sorry it didn't work out for you last week, but I
don't know how to record stuff. I'm stupid.
We can only do so much. So now we're into the product spotlights. And first up is the Tavor, depending on how you want to say it, TS12, which is their new Bullpup 12 gauge shotgun. I'll just go over the specs here. It's gas regulated, so it's not some, weird system. It is a 15+1 max capacity. I will explain that later. You can choose if you wanted to eject out the right side or the left side. When you first load the magazine or twist it in, it automatically loads around into the chamber. It says it has 4 sling mounts. It's got an M-lock rail built into it. Picatinny top rail, so you can put optics on it. It does not have any sights. Beretta choke tubes, which I guess if you're running tubes helps. It has an 18.5-inch barrel. It is 28.35 inches long. It weighs 8 pounds unloaded. It uses a crossbolt safety. a bulkhead bolt locking system, which doesn't mean much to me. The MSRP is going to be $13.99.
And since
Okay,
it's a board,
and since
you're on $1,500 or $1,600.
right, but okay, I'm going to explain my thoughts on this since I think I'm probably the only one that shot it here. I did shoot it at range day. It's very heavy, or it may not be extremely heavy, but it still is 8 pounds unloaded. But because it's a bullpup, the weight is like literally all right over the pistol grip. It's kind of got a funky, weird trigger. If it had like a trigger guard, if you look at the picture, you can kind of tell. I mean, it broke fine. It felt fine shooting it. It's just, I don't know. It just.
Can I be honest with you, Chad?
Like,
bullpups have crappy triggers in general.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I said it wasn't. I mean, the design of it, like, there's no, like, you could literally put 2 fingers on it if you wanted and pull the trigger, because there's literally no guard from your bottom fingers to where you pull the trigger.
That's almost the same guard as on the current first gen Tavors.
I know. So the front part is a 5 magazine tube with 3 separate tubes that rotate. They don't rotate on their own. So what you do is you can load one. It has loading ports for the 2 lower tubes, one on each side. So you can technically load 2 of the tubes. The top tube is being used or whatever. Or you can load all 3 from one side or the other. Doesn't matter. You can switch the charging handle around just like you can switch the ejection port around. If you look at the picture, there's this little like thing in front of the trigger. Big, huge, wide push button deal that you push with the end of your finger so that you can rotate the magazine. So like once you shoot 5 rounds, it runs dry. You push that, you rotate the magazine. Once it clicks in, it automatically loads the next round in that magazine. And so you can shoot again. Or if you want, you could put slugs, buckshot, whatever in a different tube. So you could rotate it, cycle the action to get whatever shell out was in there. And it will now load whatever, say buckshot or slugs. It shot fine. I mean, it's a 12 gauge shotgun. It's heavy, so there is that. I did like how you could load it from both sides, and it's kind of the new hotness. The price for what it is short. It is a Tavor style, and that's about all I have to say about it.
So my guess in the loading tubes go pretty far back into the stock, probably right above the trigger or behind the trigger.
Yes, you see that weird kind of round thing on the side.
Yeah, the indication.
Yeah, that's actually out. Tubes where you load it, and that the tube itself. Yeah, it goes in that right above the pistol grip is about where the tube ends, because sticking out is only, yay far.
Right.
And, it's a good, I like the concept. I don't care for bullpups either. The only thing I really didn't like about it was the weight. I mean, I'm talking empty weight, not full weight.
Loaded.
But yeah. But besides that, hey, if that's your thing, I can see a use for law enforcement with it, having to change rounds with not too much to worry about. It's quick to rotate the magazine after 5 shots. It'll use up to 3-inch shells. So if you want 2 3/4, 3-inch, it does prefer being a tactical shotgun. They said it doesn't like birdshot low base shells as much as, other ones, but that's pretty typical with that style of shotgun.
So it's a full semi-automatic shotgun.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I guess the only thing, well, actually, I do like the fact that it's got Benelli choke tubes, because then you can run you've got a standard platform if you want to run like a Salvo 12 with some kind of silencer at the end of the barrel.
Even like a muzzle brake or something.
No, I'm talking about my silencer.
I know, a suppressor.
Nice. Yeah.
The only thing my biggest concern is where they've got the tube release button. Because it's just opposite the trigger. I'd be worried about pushing a tube release button, rotating the tube, a shell drops in, then you accidentally squeeze the trigger. But
yeah, it was out there a little ways. I mean, you'd have to have pretty big fingers to maybe do that.
Yeah, you got to learn to use the gun that you got, dude.
Oh yeah,
and that's my thing is cool range toy. It really sucks that it only takes light. It doesn't like light loads, because my thing is this with my shotguns that I have, my pump shotguns that I use, not only to train classes, not only to shoot clays myself, but also to train people to shoot a shotgun.
So recorder going?
Recording, right? Zane's gonna love it because it does a light load.
Yes.
You don't like heavy load.
But here's my thing. With my pump, I can put hundreds of rounds of light loads through it without breaking the bank. I think like $25 can get me 100 light loads. I can shoot clays, I can run classes, and I can get rounds through the gun to make sure, 500 rounds later, it cost me about $100, if not a little bit more. And I know the thing can handle being shot. So me using it as a defensive shotgun is fine. If I can only use high brass, it's going to be a lot of money. It's going to beat me the heck up. And I still won't know whether this thing can handle being run and used as a defensive shotgun, because it doesn't have a track record. Just because it's made by IWI and Tavor doesn't mean it's going to be a kick-butt defensive shotgun, because it has no military track record or anything else. It's just a civilian product.
And here's the other thing with that. It has a totally different manual of arms. So if you have it in your head that this is going to be your home defense weapon, you need to get out and learn this manual of arms. Like, if you don't put a couple thousand rounds through this thing and get intimately familiar with how to operate this gun, you're wrong if you're trying to use it for any serious purpose. And if it's not shooting birdshot well, couple thousand rounds of double-aught buck, even with my beloved reduced recoil, ain't gonna be fun, and it ain't gonna be cheap.
I mean, your number, a couple thousand rounds, I don't think is necessary with something like a shotgun. But I think you're going to need more time with this than you'd need for a conventional shotgun, because they're kind of pretty easy and straightforward to use. I was watching the guys run this on video, and I'm like, to advance the tube, you have to push the button on the right-hand side forward as you turn the tube with your left hand. To load the tube, you have to push down something with your thumb, I think, on the left-hand side to load the tubes.
No, to load the tubes, all you have to do is you just shove it in like a regular tube.
All right, that's why I'm doing something weird on the other side to pull them out.
Except on this one, you don't have to load it up into a receiver. It looks like it's more of a direct slide.
It's a straight line. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm saying you got to learn this gun. And it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks and gets expensive. It gets expensive because it only uses not only uses high brass, but only runs well with high brass, i.e., buckshot and slugs.
Yeah,
I mean, you can probably run birdshot through it. You're just probably going to get really good with
malfunction drills,
malfunction clearance. Which is the thing with a shotgun. People seem to think shotguns don't ever hiccup. And they absolutely do.
They do.
You do need to know how to clear a malfunction in a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
But
and you guys were saying, I can vouch for. I was like, I don't know, third or fourth in line of watching people shoot this, and while they were shooting it, of course, I'm trying to figure out the manual of arms. I'm looking at it, going, yeah, that's going to take some practice if you want to get good at it. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's definitely not your standard shotgun that everybody is used. I mean, even, and this is more fodder for later, is, Mossberg brought out their 500, 590, whichever it is, with a magazine. Well, Remington did it too, but Mossberg is a little better done in my opinion. But, besides that, it's still a pump shotgun and you kind of know how to run it. I mean, yeah, it's a different manual of arms, but it's not near as complicated as rotating a tube that nobody's ever done before.
I think if I were to do something like this, I would probably be more tempted to load it with 2 or 3 rounds in the tube, and that way you get more practice rotating the tubes.
Yeah. My other thing is this, though, because a lot of us often talk, because we all own shotguns, already. But if you're a new shooter and you've never owned a shotgun and this is going to be your first one, you have nothing to unlearn, but you still got to learn it. You still got to run it. And you still got to drop a significant amount of money more, $13.99 is the MSRP, than any most shotguns that you use for home defense.
Well, and the most shotguns that people for their first shotgun are going to buy. I don't think many people are going to buy this as their first shotgun.
It's
oh no,
it's funny. I don't know. And the reason I say I don't know is, most of us probably won't, but firearms culture 2.0.
That's true.
They buy different stuff because they don't have grandpappy's guns because they never grew up around them. So it's either video game influence or cool stuff on YouTube. Some of these guys buy what they see and they have good jobs and they can buy a $1,400 shotgun for the gun.
Yeah, you got a point.
I do want to go back real quick to something Chad said. The idea of switching between loads is not favorably looked upon as much as it may have been in the past, especially when you start talking between less lethal and lethal. Sometimes there is a need to put sometimes there is a need to get a slug in the gun when you're running buckshot, but anything aside from that is extremely frowned upon, and candy cane tubes and running all that. Just get that out of your head. I ain't doing anything.
Yeah, if I did anything, it'd be not.
I knew what you meant, Chad, but I wanted to clarify.
That's good because I would never want to mix less lethal with lethal because what if you turn the tube will rotate either direction. So what if you rotated it the wrong direction?
That'd be one of those where if you wanted less than lethal, I'd have that thing in a separate or in a different way, identified painted orange or green or purple or something where it's hey, this is not lethal.
Exactly.
A lot of them are just set up to where they won't even fire, and in some cases even chamber live ammo.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is I'd have the shotgun actually identified as a painted orange, saying this is less than lethal. So you don't accidentally grab it thinking, I got slugs in this thing or whatever. But So how does this thing have a last round bolt hold open or not?
I believe it does.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it does.
Okay, I didn't see it on the specs. So
I watched it on video.
Can you port load a bullpup though? Is that a
really?
Can you do that?
I mean, really, 16 rounds wasn't enough. You want to ghost load one now?
I'm just saying. Is that even a thing? Is port loading can you even do that with a bullpup?
I think you probably could.
I've never shot it.
If the bolt's open, I don't see why you couldn't. Now, I guess the real question is, if you want to switch the ejection port, do you have to send away to Tavor to get a replacement a bolt head?
No, you don't.
It didn't. It didn't sound like it to me.
Do it yourself. There was some stipulation, but you can do it yourself.
Yeah, because I know for the 223 rifles, you actually have to send a rifle back so they can head stamp it or chamber match it.
Nope, you can do it yourself in a few minutes, from what they said.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Yeah, I think you have to order a left-handed bolt.
Right.
But you can do it yourself.
Okay, I mean headspace. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Well, it's a shotgun, so there is no headspace.
Sure. Yeah, and that's probably why you can just order the left-hand bolt from Tavor and say, "Here, give me." Hey, for the charging handle or the cocking, how hard is it to actually cycle the action?
Oh, the action?
Yeah.
It's not that bad. I mean, I would say just like any other pretty much semi-auto. Think AK maybe. They're probably about like that.
Okay.
I'm just going by what I'm remembering, but I don't remember it like, oh yeah, this is going to take. Zane will never be able to do this.
Zane can do it. He just won't ever want to do it.
Man, you guys got jokes. Got jokes.
I got a few now and then. Well, I guess we'll put the yeah, it needs some rest. So now we'll go on to the FNH Scar SC.
I'm depressed.
And why are you depressed, Rob? Because they're not going to
buy this gun, but I can't buy it because it's law enforcement, military only. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe if you're lucky, they'll make a non-select fire version in an SBR that you can buy, but they won't.
And the Scar freaks will buy it.
You're darn right we will.
I have no idea why a company would do law enforcement only and just leave that money on the table when we have so many places that SBRs are legal, or you can even call it a pistol and just snatch that money off the table.
And in all reality, law enforcement doesn't have a major need in most cases for select fire. Even the ones that have them aren't running them in select fire, with the exception of some subguns. Some agencies are still running subguns, but they could have just made the semi-auto. No, I mean subguns. There's a difference.
He means PCCs.
With a switch.
And I agree with you. And here's something else. When you're tripping all over yourself for law enforcement and military contracts, understand law enforcement keeps their guns for 20 freaking years, 20 or 30 years. Congratulations. You sold 10 rifles to a company for 2 decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
And we totally jumped ahead of the specs and stuff, but
yeah.
And my biggest complaint has to do with that, so I guess I'll hold it.
Okay. I
Okay.
forgot that. Yeah, let's roll.
Okay. The specs.
On, I gotta mute myself.
Okay, the specs. It's 5.56. Okay, imagine that. Short stroke gas piston. Oh, look, it's a Scar. So it uses AR mags. Comes with a 30-round mag, I guess. It weighs 6.9 pounds. Okay, so it's a Scar. It's heavy. Barrel length is 7.5 inches. Overall length is 21.1 with the stock collapsed and 25.7 with it extended. Because it is law enforcement, it is select fire. Uses a rotating bolt. A non-reciprocating charging handle. I don't know why. A composite polymer trigger module. I think that's probably the same one they use in the Scar. Hard anodized mill accessories, spec accessory rails, Picatinny rails, basically. Let's see, chrome lined barrel, or pistol grip. Looks more like an A1 than an A2 pistol grip, but it's a pistol grip. Ambidextrous safety lever and mag release. Charging handle can be mounted right or left side. Enlarged trigger guard, so if you wear gloves. Adjustable gas regulator for use with a sound suppressor. Okay, now that we got through the specs.
So
what are you going to say, Zane?
So I talk a lot about ballistics, and it's partly why I'm not a fan of PCCs. And the problem with a 7.5 inch barrel on a 5.56 is you give up your terminal performance at that point. Once you drop below about 10.5, 10.3, the Mark 18 is a 10.3, I think. And that's really as short as you want to go with 5.56. At this length, quite honestly, if you need a gun this small, it makes more sense to have a bullpup or, in this very rare instance, something in a pistol caliber. If you have to have it this short, and I know, let's go ahead and get the jokes out, but if you have to have it this short, it does not make sense to have a rifle caliber because you're not getting rifle performance out of that cartridge. You completely neuter that cartridge by dropping to a 7.5 inch barrel.
Yeah, but if you're using the 77 grain load,
even then, that's moving even slower.
Yep.
I know, but you get more terminal ballistics out of it. I mean, we're still looking at short range rifle. It's more of a pistol.
They should have made this 10.5 or 11.5, and that it would have been, I would have told you this is money. This in 10.5 or 11.5 is money.
And I'm sure if you wanted this in 10.5 or 11.5, they'll probably make the barrel 3 inches.
They probably have a version in the works for it, because I got to think I'm not the only person who is thinking this. So,
no, I completely understand, and
I'm wondering if the thought process was short, compact, add a silencer on it, and have fun.
I was gonna say, try not to make too much fun of me, but 3 inches does matter.
Okay.
Hey.
Wow.
Oh, dang, man.
So, I mean, if the idea with the select fire is to go to select fire and dump a bunch of rounds really fast, that's the idea behind subguns. And that technology is kind of like we've moved on. We don't do that anymore. MP5s are, they're not cool anymore. They're not cool anymore.
MP5s on
They're
the
still
new
cool.
range, and 3 companies are making them now and showed them a shot set. And everybody was flinging themselves off a cliff trying to get one. So, my thing with this is it weighs 7 pounds.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm looking at it, right? And I went through their entire catalog of rifles here, tactical rifles. It weighs as much or slightly less than every one of them. Even the Scar Heavy only weighs 1 pound more than this. This is how ridiculous this short what's wrong with you? And again, you are pooping away the advantage you'd have with the 223-556 cartridge with such a short barrel at the distances we're talking about, because this should be a replacement for a subgun for the most part, right? Or you're not getting the velocity even when you reach out. There are better options. If you're not inside of a building with this and you're outside, you can get any rifle, and size doesn't matter. If you're in a patrol car, you're already dealing with a SCAR. You got a folding stock. You can have a SCAR 16. You can have a SCAR 17. If you're inside and working close confines, you can use a PS 90. And it at least has a round that's designed to be used and effective in the length of the barrel that you'll be using. I mean, it was built to use that 5.7 round.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, really, this is, it does have one advantage over pistol caliber like an MP5, because it's been proven that inside the 223 5.56 is better at not going through walls than say a 9mm, assuming everything's close to the same, like Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, sure. 55 grain is, and that's mainly with 55 grain because it's a light bullet going really fast. It destabilizes really quick. But you also got to remember that's because, well, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I understand. I know. And yeah, I was with Tony on this on the weight. I'm like, that thing weighs a ton. I mean, not that SCARs are really light rifles anyway, but I'm like, you're getting rid of all this stuff that's heavy. Why is it so heavy?
Yeah, why is it still heavy if you got rid of everything that's heavy?
It's the bolt. That's the heavy part of the SCAR.
And no, really, I'm laughing because I'm looking at this, right? SCAR 16, 7.25 pounds. This thing weighs 6.9.
So
SCAR's version, SCAR's TAC 2, which is a full length rifle, right? 16-inch barrel, 6.7 pounds.
So it's lighter.
Rifle. Yeah, their tactical rifle, the FN-15 SRP Tactical, 6 pounds with a 16-inch barrel. Their DMR, their DMR, 7 pounds with an 18-inch barrel. Okay, so why did I get this with a barrel that's really too short to take advantage of 5.56 on the inside? It's heavy as snot. I mean, the cool thing is this. It's not available for civilian market. If it comes on the civilian market, put a longer barrel on it, and it'll probably be awesome sauce, right?
Well, heck, even
I mean, put an 11.5 on this, and put a pistol brace on it, and take the select fire away. And this will sell like hotcakes. I still don't want one. Not a big fan of the SCARs, and that's not to say they're bad. I just I know how to work an AR. I've been working them for years, and I'm
right.
But this will sell like hotcakes.
Even if they put a 16-inch barrel with a slightly longer handle, basically took their 16-inch SCAR and put this stock on it. I think they would have a winner. But I'm with you. Put a pistol brace on it, put a 10.5 inch, 11.5 inch barrel on it. They're gonna sell tons of these, which I can see FN doing. Nowadays, I mean, come on, they make the semi-auto. What is it, the 249 or whatever?
The belt fed 249s, yeah, and the power.
This and the semi-auto versions. It's like, okay, why wouldn't they do this? I mean, it makes perfect sense for them.
Yeah, maybe it'll something down the line because I mean they did come out with their military collector grades, so it may happen. But I'm like, why did you not start with that? But who knows? I mean, hey, listen, I have no idea what they're gonna do.
Unless they had a specific contract for it, like maybe there was some company that contracted them to build this gun, and they built it, and maybe they're like, yeah, we're tooled up for it, so.
Might as well put them out.
That's the only thing I can think. You know, someone maybe ordered this specific configuration.
That's true. That's true because I mean, FN does military contracts and large contracts around the world. But I'm like, why wouldn't you just drop a semi-automatic trigger group in it and get your most bang for your buck? I mean, heck, that's what Glock did. They were like, we're already tooled up for this freaking MHS. MHS.
You mean 19X?
Whatever. We're tooled up for it. Let's get that out there and sell it.
Let's pull the safety off this thing and sell it.
Yeah.
Why don't you get about the 19Xs? Why don't you just buy a Glock 17 with a regular...
No, it's not about that. It's about...
Well, we already talked about that.
Yeah, but let me go ahead.
Glock 17 grit.
Yeah, no. Forget all that. My thing about the Glock 19X is they should have put it out exactly in the military configuration because that's the fans that want to buy that. Like the one the military, it went up for the military trials. Why wouldn't you want that? That's going to be a unicorn eventually. That's going to fade out. They're going to stop making that probably, and yours is going to be worth a lot of money. I'm just saying. Everything ain't a Glock 19, and they shouldn't have called it a Glock 19X. They should have really called it something else.
A 17X is what they should have called it.
Yeah, because it's a Glock 17 with a Glock 19 slide, right?
Yeah. Basically,
so why don't just buy a Glock 19 and use a full-size magazine in it? I don't know.
Who cares? That's that. We ain't even talking about that right now.
We might as well. Yeah. I mean, we're kind of done with the SCAR too, unless Rob has something to say.
Yeah. Thank you for smashing my hopes and dreams.
Thought about
it. Hey, when they bring one out, you'll be the first to buy one.
Yes. I actually want one of their military collector M4s or M16A2s or A4s. No. Just the regular rifles.
Yeah, did you? Okay.
Brownell's just
on a
released,
different note.
I
was going to say.
Line, which looks
cool.
pretty.
And their retro line is pretty cool. Especially,
yeah. Oh, dude.
Especially the AR-10s.
Oh, yes. And that's especially what I want. Just because that's what I grew up reading and drooling over.
Yep. Yeah, they had those when you were a kid. No, don't lie to us.
Well, no, they had those in the old magazines that I used to pick up at the Goodwill for like 5 cents a piece. So that's not true. That's what I used to read.
You bought them new for 5 cents a piece.
We're talking about 1903 Springfields. What are we?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And potato diggers.
Nice.
Okay. Well, we're on to feedback, and we actually have some feedback, good and bad. I'm gonna let Zane read the first one, if he's up for that, or can you even see it on your phone?
Yep, I can see it. I read it last week too.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Nobody heard it.
Well, this is the repeat.
Ron didn't record it.
Hang on, I gotta zoom in because I was on my computer last week.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is so the feedback is, it says Rustling Zane's Jimmies by Aggie WF, which you may remember wrote in a couple weeks ago, and changed the review to 5 stars, which we greatly appreciate. And it says, howdy again. So there is no confusion. I identify as a Boeing AH-46 Apache attack helicopter. Appreciate you clarifying that, because there was some confusion last week or 2 weeks ago. Well, I'm glad to see y'all read my comment last week about Zane and PCCs. Even though he did not say the line with as much enthusiasm as I would like, I will keep my word and change review to 5 stars. I don't think I said it at all. I'm open to coming on and discussing PCCs or any topic. 2 points before I end this. I'm excited to hear that Zane is trying a PCC, and you shouldn't call your listeners terrible. Again, keep up the good work. Probably right. Probably shouldn't call the listeners terrible, but I do know for a fact at one time there was at least one terrible listener because I used to be a listener. So there's that.
Well,
so we thank you, Attack Helicopter, for that update, and send Chad an email. And when we do a pistol caliber carbine show, he will send you the show notes because I told him to.
Send it to the link down below, the gungearreview@gmail.com, and we'll get it out. And if you say who you are, it'll give me an idea of what we're dealing with, meaning Zane.
Hey. There's no telling what you're dealing with me.
And
I get that.
And if you're going to be an attack helicopter, I'll just put it out there. You might want to be a AH-1. Any of the variations, especially the whiskey and the Zulu, they had better maintenance records than the Apache. Just saying. I think on my actual Facebook, I identify as some sort of military aircraft under the gender.
I think you might actually.
I'm gonna go look right now. I believe I do.
Okay.
I'm totally.
Well, you got a cyber stalker, Zane.
Yep, Tony, you can read the next one since it's good and mentions you. Okay.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. I didn't even read that one. All right, this is from Mac0218. Love the show, guys. Just started listening a week ago. Already about 40 shows in. I have no idea why you do that to yourself, sir.
Hopefully he started and is working his way backwards.
Wow.
I really enjoy listening to your reviews and personal experience / opinions on some topics. I think you're doing a great job in everything. Tony started following you on the Insta. Good luck with your 2A4E thing. Great cause. P.S. Don't just. Wow.
Yeah.
Judge.
Yes. Oh, is
Don't
that what
judge.
it should be?
Yeah.
Don't judge the rest of us Floridians based on Zane. LOL.
Listen.
Here.
You're not even a real Floridian, Rob.
Oh, guess not, but I was born in Florida.
Listen, Florida.
Okay,
I'm second generation.
I am Florida man.
Oh,
I have
you are. You are Florida man.
I have never been referred to as Florida man in a news article though. So there's that.
That's good.
That's a pretty low
we'll
bar.
change that.
Yeah. And since I am the host, I will read the bad review. That's what I get stuck with, I guess.
Hold on a second.
No.
Hold on a second. Hey, thanks, Matt, for the positive review. Really appreciate it. Thanks for giving us a 5-star. All right.
Hey.
There you go.
So now we have Just Know 1 star by Dropkick Hero. After listening to 5 minutes of laughing and condescending jokes about certain firearms with little to no actual substance, I had to stop. This is a waste of time. I thought that Firearms Radio Network would have a little more credibility than this. Apparently, I was wrong. Just stop this podcast. You're getting in the way of others that are actually informative. This sounds like a bunch of frat guys babbling about what girls they could hook up with and if they wanted to. Just pathetic. Well, as we say, any publicity is good publicity. So thank you, Dropkick. Oh, Dropkick.
Is this the part where we say, "That's not great"?
Dropkick. That's good.
That's awesome.
It's funny.
Let's see. 1 hour 24. Where's my pen?
Oh, no. Do not.
No, that's going to go. Hey, don't worry, guys. I'm also recording this, and I figured out how to record both audio. So this is going. So this is.
Yeah, way to get on that.
Okay.
Hey, way to get on that a week too late. All right. I have to say, I'll take any constructive criticism from someone. Because with constructive criticism, you can become better at what you do. I use
Keyword
it every day. Keyword here is constructive. Sorry, sir, but we're 213 episodes in. You gave us 5 minutes Yeah, we laugh. We make condescending jokes, not only about firearms, but about people, about firearms company, about each other, and everything else. But you gave us 5 minutes out of 213 episodes. So your opinion is pretty much, in my personal opinion, not valid because you gave it no time.
Hey,
And as far as stop this podcast, I'm getting oh yeah, here's a quote I just read on the internet. Just know, we're not. So you're getting in the way of others. No, actually, if you bring something to the table, Dropkick hero. Seriously, you call yourself a hero?
At least
hey,
you could say it.
Hey, Dropkick, if you have something to bring to the table to the Firearms Radio Network, I'm sure Sean Herron will give you a listen because I'm sure you have a bunch of stuff going on. And as far as frat boys, well, listen, you need to upgrade the friends that you hang out with because I hang out with some pretty decent people here with a lot of firearms experience. What, 1, 2, 3 of us are actual firearms instructors that taught classes and teach classes regularly, use a plethora of firearms constantly. What else? Oh, yeah. Some of us have suppressors. Rob has some of the coolest friggin' toys ever. So I have no idea what you're basing this on, but we do have a lot of firearms experience, and we have different ideas, and we like to joke, and we like to have fun. So, hey, cool. Time out of your day to give us a crappy review. So I'm giving you all the attention and all the credit you deserve, which is none. But thanks anyway.
And in summation, to quote the great Southern philosopher, you can kiss my grits.
Nice.
Okay. Well, we do have.
I was gonna basically read one of Tim's comments from Military Arms Channel, but whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's not really an inside joke. You just have to join different Facebook pages and you know what we're
right. Which that's how you deal with trolls, though. That's how you deal with trolls. Good job, Tim. I doubt he listens to us, but if you do, good job.
Good job.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, do you want to read this from your possible fanboy, Zane?
Fanboy.
Sure.
Okay.
Fanboy.
Let me pull it up here.
Hold on.
In response to...
Let me paraphrase. I love you, Zane. I love you. I love you, Zane.
In response to review criticism of one of the panelists, I would just like to add one thing I love about the show is the contrast. I don't want to listen to a show where one panelist says pistol caliber carbines are the best and all the other panelists say this is absolutely true. I applaud Zane for standing up for what he believes, even knowing he is going to get flack from the other panelists. It's great that you guys come across. It's also great that you guys come across as a group of lifelong friends that aren't afraid to go for the jugular when there's a disagreement, and you'll still be best of friends afterwards. In a PC world, you're a non-PC show is a standout. And I can't read it currently.
Zane has only been reading for about 2 weeks now.
Yeah,
Holy
Hooked on Phonics
mackerel.
did not work for me.
Holy.
Well, you're a Florida
You get a
man.
refund, brother.
Florida man.
Wow.
And Florida man does not read reviews anymore.
You know,
Yeah,
and
Go
the
ahead.
best part about this is this review came after the Dropkick Hero one. So, you know, it gives a good understanding for Dropkick Hero that, you know, some people like what we're doing and like that, you know, it's good reviews. You know, hey, we thank everybody for their reviews. And as somebody said a while back, you know, we should be careful when we ask for feedback, but you know, like Tony said, we learn from feedback, and this is how we get better at what we're doing. I mean, hey, if you don't like it, that's fine with us. I mean, it's a free show, you know.
And you know, there's a lot of work that goes into the writing reviews. It's not nearly as easy as you would think, because I remember the first time I decided I was going to write a review.
Yeah,
I thought I'm just going to sit down and I'll write a review. That ain't how it works.
it's, you know, it's not. It's
I'm
not.
working on 4 right now, and I should just finish one at a time. For some reason, I'm in the middle of 4 different ones.
Uh-huh.
There's work involved, and we don't get paid. We do it because we enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, I'll sit down to write a review, and it's like, okay, I sit down at say 8:00, right? I start writing out this review, and next thing I know, it's 11:00. I'm like, oh, I should probably go to bed. And I'm still not done.
And you got a half a page.
Oh, dude,
I got
it is bad.
Yeah.
It is bad. You should see the review I'm writing for the High Point PCC or pistol caliber carbine. Oh my God. It's like going. Yeah, I don't like the way that looks. All right, I'll erase it. All right, I'll start over. Wait a minute. I don't like it. Yeah, that's been going on for a couple of months now.
Well, I'm doing one on a handguard right now, and
oof.
5.56 ammo's expensive, and I'm trying to get at least 1,000 rounds through it before which I know it's just a handguard and it's not, necessary to fire that many rounds, but hey, try to be thorough.
Yeah, it gives you a good idea. I mean, I usually, I'll put 200 rounds through anything before I review it for sure.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, just because you never know. Well, now we're into Tony's Second is for Everyone diversity shoot events.
All right, guys. Hey, Second is for Everyone diversity shoot is coming up this Thursday, February 1st. If you guys miss it, sorry. We had a great time. It was wonderful. I gave it a rousing speech, and it was awesome. And people chanted and carried me around the room on their shoulders. And then we overthrew the government in Trenton, and guns are now legal in Jersey. That's what I hope happens. But Second is for Everyone diversity shoot is really set up to get people from every background to actually come out to the range, meet real gun owners, meet Second Amendment groups. It's also designed for gun owners. Get off your butts, come on out, and actually meet the Second Amendment groups that you can join to make a difference. In New Jersey, we need to help because we have an explicitly anti-gun governor, and you're going to have to gird yourself up for the fight, so you might as well get to know all the members of the fight that's coming. It's going to be a gun for hire range, Woodland Park, 6 p.m. this coming Thursday. Leave early if you've never been there. Work at the range before you start. It's a $10 fee to shoot almost 200 rental guns that are going to be there for free, plus the firearms I'm bringing, plus my friends and others are bringing. Plus, we're going to have food, raffles, and giveaways, all for $10 in New Jersey. That's 3 hours of entertainment from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to meet a lot of people. Come on out. Check us out on diversityshoot.com, because not only do we have this event coming up, we have the rest of the year's event for Gun for Hire range on that page. So if you can't make this one, make the next one. You want to check out what we do, go to Second is for Everyone on Facebook, go to our website, diversityshoot.com, or check me out on Simon Says Train on Instagram. Simon Says Train is also on Facebook. That's our training company. Instagram is kind of the catch-all. So I have stuff from our training. I have stuff from the Minuteman Challenge, and I also have stuff from the diversity shoots. You want to fund us? Go to our GoFundMe page. The Second is for Everyone. Type it in. Boom. There we are. You can help out. Mastro Ray is doing something with Black Guns Matter called 1,000 people give $5. If you can help and you can send me $5, I'd really appreciate it. What I do is buy ammo. I buy different things to make this happen. You can help us out. Please do. And as always, thank you guys for allowing me to come on every week, talk about this, and just reach as many people as possible to keep our Second Amendment rights alive. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah. So how much pimping of your diversity shoot did you do on the Loose Round show?
Oh, I didn't do a lot, actually, because I'm saving myself up for the Great American Outdoor Show that's coming next Sunday. Actually, coming up Friday, it opens up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It's a 9-day show put on by the NRA. It's 9 long days in Harrisburg, but it has tons and tons of gun companies. Off the top of my head, I can tell you right now, SIG was there. Wow, SIG was there last year. High Point was there last year. Navy Arms was there. I think Smith & Wesson was there. Taurus was there. Walther was there. So it's pretty much like the NRA annual meeting, but it's in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And it's huge.
It's a week longer.
Yes, it's 9 freaking days, bros. If you go on the weekend, of course, it's going to be crowded. But dude, if you can take off a Wednesday and roll up to Harrisburg, you have all the time to just stroll out and check everything. Get there first thing in the morning and you can have fun. Freedom Munitions is there. Let me drop a hint on you. Last day of the show, drop by Freedom Munitions booth because they don't want to carry all that weight back with them wherever they go. So they're selling stuff at a discount just to get rid of it. Just saying. So might want to do that. But yeah, that's what I'll be doing. I think Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. I'll be at the Great American Outdoor Show. John Patton will be there from TGC. Also, Adam Crowd will be there. And I know Matt DeVito is going to be there. If you guys know who Matt is from, hopefully Whitey will show up too. So there'll be a lot of people walking around that you'll be surprised you saw. Make a trip. It'll be worth it. Check it out online. Just look up the Great American Outdoor Show. And you can probably buy tickets well before and print them out at home. And you don't have to pay at the door because that's a long line, baby.
Nice. Well, I guess we'll move into the wrap up since I did have Pick on the AR-15 podcast in here, but
oh, hey, I also real quick, I did just check my Facebook and I do identify as an A10 Warthog on there.
Oh,
so maybe we're
nice.
maybe me and Aggie are like long lost relatives that we don't know about.
could be.
Maybe.
I mean, depends if he's from Florida or not. So send questions, comments, feedback to gungearreview@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review, good or bad. We'll probably read it on the air if I remember to check it. This time Rob put them in for us, so that was good. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv. Be sure to check out the Firearms Insider for reviews and industry coverage. Check us out on Facebook at Facebook/Firearms Insider. Follow us at Firearms Insider on Instagram. Thanks for listening to the largest pound for pound podcast on the network, and we are out.
Bye, Felicia.